All I wanted for Christmas was a new quarterback. All I got was a lump of coal under my stocking.
You are Locked On Canes, your daily podcast on the Miami Hurricanes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I hope everyone had a Merry Christmas and that you're having a happy holiday season. I am Alex Donno, your host. I'm a University of Miami alumnus, longtime South Florida sports radio vet, and contributor to allhurricanes.com. Thank you so much to the everydayers. I know we took a rare 2 days off. I don't think we've taken 2 consecutive days off since the Jimmy Carter administration, but we are back on Locked On Canes. We are available free wherever you get your podcasts and available free on YouTube. I know that there was a lot of hope and a lot of buzz that Cam Ward would be a Miami Hurricane by Christmas. Nope, it's past Christmas. We're still waiting on a quarterback, but the wait for the truth teller is over because he is here. Bruce Warner is with us. Bruce, I hope outside of waiting on a quarterback, I hope you had a great Christmas and you're having a good holiday season.
I did, but I've got some news. I think he's waiting till Passover. Next April.
I was going to say, Cam Ward's father said they would decide around Christmas. Didn't say what year.
Oh, he didn't say anything. But he was on last night, though. America's Most Wanted. They were trying to find a kid. What a mess this has become. I can't believe this.
I think it's like, hold on. I think our fan base may be overplaying the mess part of it a little bit. Because first of all, there are still a handful of quarterbacks that are out there who haven't decided. In fact, new quarterbacks are still hitting the transfer portal. Jaden DeLora from Arizona, who's a pretty good player, played under Jed Fish there. He's hit the portal. We just had Tate Rodemaker just hit the portal yesterday. Not that I don't want him, but there's still quarterbacks entering the portal. And Bruce, Miami is not the only major team looking for a quarterback that doesn't have one yet. Ohio State, they may be on the verge. We'll talk about that in a second. But Ohio State, as of today, does not have a new quarterback yet. Neither does Florida State, and neither does USC. And I might even be leaving some out. But, our fan base, I think we set an expectation and we set a timeline that this needs to be done first by National Signing Day, and then it needs to be done by Christmas. Otherwise, we're going to go crazy and we're going to write angry tweets and we're going to be angry on message boards. It's like, it's not as if Miami is the last person, around the musical chairs that hasn't sat down yet, right? I mean, our timeline may not necessarily be the timeline, if you know what I mean, Bruce.
It's not the timeline. I don't even know if there is a timeline because we were talking about Jefferson 10 days ago.
Yeah.
He can't get here until next Friday.
Yeah.
So we have another 10 days in the middle. And then Howard's not going to USC. They don't have the funds. So now they're talking about Ohio State.
Yeah.
And Ohio State's talking about Ward. What about us?
Well, Ohio State's not getting them both, though, Bruce. And
I understand that.
Oh, yeah. So, and you're bringing up something because for basically all of last week, right, the USC Twitter insiders, which are even more shameless than Miami's, were saying, we got Howard. He's coming here. He's coming to USC. It's a done deal. Not only is Will Howard not going to USC, at least not as of today, looks like Will Howard's actually going to Ohio State.
Looks like,
and that affects Miami in multiple ways, Bruce. Will Howard,
it limits their options for one.
It does limit their options, but a lot of people viewed Ohio State as a potential contender for Cam Ward. Yes. So if they take Will Howard, at least that crosses Ohio State off of Cam Ward's list. So that's a good thing for Miami.
Yeah, but why couldn't it look? I'll ask everybody, they can comment because they usually do. Would you rather have a commitment from Howard now and not get Ward if you could get him? Because I don't know if he's interested in Miami, but he had a hell of an interview supposedly 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
And the same thing with Ward. So if he says, I'll come here, would you say, all right, forget Ward, I'll just take Howard? I would. But if he's going to go to Ohio State, he couldn't possibly have an interest in Miami because we have the money to get this kid, just like Ohio State. I don't understand. This guy said Howard now. I would take Howard in 2 seconds.
Take Howard and run, SP says.
Take Howard and run, right. Just run. I don't care where you run. Just run. But he can't possibly have an interest in Miami if he's talking Ohio State, unless it's, as you said, some of those so-called Twitter maniacs at Ohio State that are throwing this stuff out there. It might not be true at all. But Mario and Alonzo should know this.
Yeah.
And if he says, yeah, I'll commit, I wouldn't wait for Ward anymore.
Yeah, okay, but what if Mario and Alonzo, because I give them the benefit of the doubt in most situations, okay? And I know people get frustrated with Mario's timelines, right? Took him too long to hire coordinators and stuff. Like he takes his time with this stuff, and it can be frustrating. But if Mario Cristobal and Alonzo Highsmith have a good idea that they are in the lead for Cam Ward, and if he's been their favorite all along, then it's a risky proposition either way. Waiting on him is risky, but then taking somebody else only to lose him if you're favored for him is just as risky. And Bruce, here's the latest. This was posted by our mutual very good friend Gary Furman at Kane Sport, posted this morning on what he says is the skinny on the Cam Ward situation, why we're still waiting on Ward to decide. He says they, being his family, don't want to pull the trigger on college until they are 100% sure that the NFL is not the right option. So it's a waiting game as they work through that, and they aren't in a hurry, he says. Okay? So now, if I take that at face value, Bruce, that would mean a lot of people have been saying for the past several days, you know, the people who were like, it's a done deal, Ward is for sure coming, or just waiting on the announcement. Basically, these people were implying that it's Miami that's just, you know, stalling to announce for whatever reason, and that it's Mario's timeline. That report from Gary Furman would indicate we're all on Cam Ward's timeline, and he's the one who is, you know, who's holding this up, not Mario Cristobal.
You really believe that 2 weeks, 2.5, 3 weeks ago, his stock has changed without playing 1 second on the field? I don't. I think Alonzo knows 3 weeks ago and today and 2 weeks ago and a month ago where this kid is supposed to be projected. Yeah. Now, I said to you off the air, maybe they told Mario, don't worry about it, we're coming. That would be the only reason if I was the head coach, I wouldn't panic. Yeah. Because he's coming, it's eventual. And he knows damn well he's not getting drafted in the first 2, maybe 3 rounds. But he hasn't signed anything, and that was not my hypothetical to you. I want to know if you think if Will Howard would come here, would you drop Cam and take Howard and be done with this?
No.
Would you roll the dice?
Not if they like Ward better and they feel like they have a legit chance with Ward. I think that what you said, it's making an emotional, scared decision. If you now listen, I know a lot of the people who watch this.
If they like Howard, then take him. I'm not saying he's the bum and Ward's the greatest.
Oh, I know, but if you like Ward better and you feel like you're still in it for him, that's a gamble they feel like is worth taking.
Yeah, maybe 2 weeks ago, but now that quarterback pool is shrinking, I'm not so sure about that, because I was under the impression, I think you and everybody else who's watching and listening thought we were going to get not 1 but 2 quarterbacks in the portal. Where are the 2?
They're all going to Oregon. You see, Oregon's already got 2 guys. They got Dylan Gabriel.
I know that. And then Duke just got the quarterback from Texas. So we're just spinning our wheels here. I hope he gets somebody. Yeah. And the other question I had, I said it to you before. What happens? And I see people have been saying it all along. What happens if Jacurri balls out on Thursday? It just lights it up.
Then that
I'm not saying he can't do it. Sure as hell he could do it.
He could, absolutely, and I hope he does. He's been practicing well. He's been practicing well, Bruce, which gives me encouraging signs for this weekend.
Right. Not under game speed, and not under a defense that's designed to stop him, because I'm sure Shiano's got something up his sleeve. Yeah. But they're probably just going to sit back in the pocket, take the runaway, and make him be a quarterback. And I hope we have an answer for that. I really do. Well, I hope he just runs all over those guys and throws right over those guys. That would be great. So.
But to your hypothetical there, if Jakari Brown, if he balls out on Thursday, would that make Miami's coaches say, you know what, we don't need to go out and get a guy. We've got him right here. I don't think so.
I would get a guy, but I wouldn't be trapped by
Okay. You may look at
goodbye.
No, what you're saying is you may look at a guy who would be maybe a little less expensive from an NIL standpoint, and you would see. I don't know if it changes the big picture, because again, our coaching staff, they're the ones who watch Jakari practice every single day, right? Mm-hmm. They know the roster more intricately than any of us could claim to understand it. And if they still feel like bringing in a guy with 4 years of starting experience under his belt would give this team the best chance to win 10 or 11 games next year, I don't know if one bowl game is going to change that, right, against Rutgers. I don't know if one bowl game against Rutgers is going to change
I agree with that. But on the other hand, why would he go to Florida State? Who's he throwing to, me and you? Those guys are gone. No, seriously, who is he throwing to? There's nobody there anymore.
Yeah.
And that team they got inner turmoil. Their NIL money got turned around. Verse was going crazy. And you know what? The hell with Florida State. We got to go after one of those two quarterbacks. And I think next year we play them here, we'll annihilate them.
By the way, I like Xavier's energy down there. Why panic? They'll have a quarterback at the end of the week. It's like he's right. I'm not panicking. Well, we don't know that, but we know there are still a bunch of transfer quarterbacks out there, including guys like Jaden DeLora who are still hitting the portal. KJ Jefferson is unsigned still. It's the ink is not dry yet with Will Howard, even if he's trending towards Ohio State. Cam Ward is still out there. There are still quarterbacks out there, Bruce. It's not time to panic yet.
When did he go to Ohio State if he's not supposed to be visiting anybody?
Will Howard? Yeah, that's a good point.
I see these
point. Yeah. You're right.
Don't you think it would have been someplace where he was there? I don't think he'd been there.
Yeah, we know he visited Miami and USC.
Talk about Jefferson, but where is he going? He can't be here unless he comes and visit. He has to wait till next fall, unless he just signs with us. But why would he do that?
Yeah. All right. Well, I want a couple more words on the quarterback situation, and I do want to move on to some other things, including why Miami went from 5.5-point favorites against Rutgers to 1-point underdogs. What changed the minds of the bettors? We will explain. So you know what you want to do, my friends, is we're only getting started. You want to keep it locked right here on this all-new episode of Locked On Canes. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you will always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Thank you so much for making this holiday week episode of Locked On Canes your first listen today. Guys, make sure you're checking out Locked On Sports today. This network, the Locked On Network, has launched the first ever 24/7 streaming sports YouTube channel. There's literally always something on. They do not sleep at Locked On Sports today, so make sure you check it out on YouTube. We are here with the truth teller, Bruce Warner. So, Bruce, for what it's worth, I saw, hold on. I got to unmute you. And it looks like you're talking. I'm actually glad you were muted because you looked a little angry there. Have you had a second to settle down? What's going on?
I'm just looking at this list and I'm thinking, who the hell is this? But they got Brown as the quarterback, Fletcher as the running back, from left to right, Rivers, McCoy, Rodriguez, Cooper, and Mauanoa, which is good.
Yeah, that's a good O-line.
Right. The tight end, Arroyo. Oh, he's going to play again. Defensively, Bain and Wayne at the ends, Harrison, Hunt, and Dean. Dean's still on the roster.
Branson Dean, yeah. I mean, I think he's out of eligibility, but he's playing in the bowl game. So this will be his. I think this is his last ride.
Yeah, it looks like they're going with two linebackers, Mauanoa and Basaint, and then Richard Brown, both Browns, Couch and Davis. So I don't know if that's going to happen. I thought he's out, but maybe he is playing in the game.
Yeah.
So if that's the lineup, that's not that bad.
No, it's not. And listen, obviously there's a couple things historically that work against Miami here. They don't have the reputation going back 20 years of taking bowl games very seriously and performing well. I mean, since 2004, the only bowl games Miami has won were 2006 in Boise against Nevada and 2016 against West Virginia in Orlando. Other than that, they've had a ton of L's, right? Okay. And also,
that was in Joku's breakout game. That's what got him drafted.
It was.
He was.
It was.
Yeah.
But still, I was curious about the way the line has moved. Now, as somebody who, if I do bet on the game, I'll probably bet the under because of, the offenses and the uncertainty at quarterback. But if I'm going to bet a side, I'll probably bet Miami on the money line with the Hurricanes as a 1-point underdog. But Bruce, when the line opened, Miami were favored by 5.5 against Rutgers. Over the past couple of weeks, it has now moved to Rutgers being favored by 1. And I was asking a friend of mine, Lee Sterling, he hosts Locked On Bets here on the Locked On Network, your team every day. And he knows Miami very well. He lives down here. He roots for Miami. What's been responsible for this line moving so much? And it just seems like, people like you and me, Bruce, and everybody watching and listening to this, like, we're in the weeds. We keep up with Miami's roster so closely. I think it took the betting public a little while to figure out how many guys Miami had opting out, right?
That is the answer, because before we had all our guys. Now all these guys are leaving. They've left. They've already they're in the portal. So, and their team's probably relatively the same, because who wants to be those guys? So that's got to be the answer. We lost a ton of starters.
Right, but it's because, like, you and me, we've known for the past 3 weeks that Cam Kinchins and James Williams and, Tyler Van Dyke and Leonard Taylor weren't going to play in the bowl game. I guess it took, the bettors around the country a little longer to figure that out. Matt Lee also not playing in the game, but
you never asked me that question until just now. And B, I don't bet, so I don't really know. But I'm just busting your chops.
You're missing out on a lot of heartbreak if you don't bet.
Yeah, and that's true. I have a hard enough time spending my money, let alone betting on somebody else that I have no control over. But I do think Miami's going to win this game. I think these kids are going to rally around Jacurri Brown.
Yeah,
I do.
He's very well liked, by the way.
It's going to be a very physical game, because he's physical. And I'm a lot less worried about 3rd and 1 than I was when Van Dyke was here. That's for sure. Or the goal line.
Remember a couple things about Jakari Brown, like why I'm so excited to watch him play this Thursday. Because he hasn't played a single snap in a game since 2022. We haven't seen him since Miami had a competent offensive line, because they had the reason why he started so many games in 2022 was because Van Dyke and Garcia couldn't protect themselves because they couldn't move around. So they had to play Jakari Brown behind no O-line that year, right? So we haven't seen what he can do behind an actual competent, really good offensive line. Miami has that this year. They didn't have it last year. And then the other thing to remember, Bruce, which I think is worth pointing out, the times that we've watched Brown in scrimmage situations over the past year, spring game last year didn't look very good. Canes Fest scrimmage in August didn't look very good. In those scrimmage situations with no contact and no hitting, he doesn't have the opportunity to do what he does best, and that's run and break tackles. Like those just, unfortunately, those simulated situations in those scrimmages tend to play more towards his weaknesses than his strengths. He gets to play to his strengths on Thursday.
But plus those things are all scripted anyway.
Yeah, true.
But I'm not a bettor, but I'll bet you this. How much you want to bet in the first 8 plays of the game, or maybe 10 at the most, he goes deep? Because I have a feeling they're going to send those guys down the field and test rush in secondary. Because he's got a big arm. He's not going to sit there and throw those little sideline out patterns like we saw with Emory Williams against Clemson and Florida State. He's going to be out there flinging that ball around. Why not?
Yeah.
He
throws a better deep ball than he does a short pass.
Probably, because of touch. But of course, remember last year when Restrepo was wide open down the field and he overthrew it by about 20 yards and he was wide open. I think my grandmother probably could have hit him. He's been gone since '83.
Oh, man.
But what are you looking at? I see you looking at all these comments.
Hold on. I'm looking because I did want to address this because I had it in my notes here. Fresh writes in, hey, we're interested in breaking news, or we're going after Marshall defensive end Elijah Alston. He has 107 for 3 seasons. He's in the portal. Yeah, Miami does have it. So this is an edge rusher, Elijah Alston from Marshall. He played for Lance Guidry a couple of years ago. He's going to be visiting Miami on January 3rd. Yeah. So right after the dead period ends, this guy's visiting. So yeah, we have interest in a former Lance Guidry player who may be reunited with his former DC here.
Yeah, if we need anybody on the line, it's the ends. because all the harping that I did about deep tackles,
it worked.
So many, and we could have 2 teams.
Mario listens. Mario's like, I gotta show the truth teller what's up here, and I gotta get all these defensive tackles.
He did a hell of a job, and I made a comment on another site that I'm on, and I said something about congratulations to the class he brought in. Well, all these guys were jumping down my throat. He's only 12-12. He can't get a quarterback. He stinks on the field. That's not what I said.
Yeah.
What I said was, thank you for bringing in probably the greatest class we've had last year, and maybe since Randy had all those guys, and probably Butch's guys. So that's all I said. I just kept it in that little box, and people are just jumping down my throat. Just stop. Can't you be happy for 5 minutes? Are you happy with the class we just got? Hell yeah, right?
Ecstatic. Yeah, well, I get comments like that as well. And obviously, we cover recruiting a lot on this channel, Locked On Canes. And, when I was doing my recruiting shows, which are all very positive. I mean, Miami gets a top 4 class in the country, consensus top 4 class. And then I get these comments of people who are like, doesn't matter, can't develop. Right. Mr. 12-12. Who cares who comes in? They're not going to develop it. It's like, hey, you understand, Mario, when it comes to stacking talent, he did an excellent job at Oregon. And yeah, he didn't win any championships there, but he won Pac-12 championships there. And now he's actually getting, better recruiting classes at Miami than his replacement at Oregon is. It's close. I mean, Oregon's still doing a fine job, but Mario is recruiting his tail off here at Miami. And that's how you build championship teams, right? We'll see what happens with the timeouts and the knees next year. But when it comes to talent acquisition, they're doing an outstanding job.
I still remember being in the stadium when they're, thanks, Butch. They wanted him gone too.
That's right.
Look at the team he had in 2001, 2002. I used 38 draft picks out of 80 guys on the roster. Whoa. So you know what? I'm not talking about that. I'm not saying these guys are wrong. I'm not saying you guys are wrong. Shut up, you're wrong. No, you're right, but that's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
This recruiting class, especially in the last month, especially stealing from who we stole from, Florida State, Ohio State. Are you kidding me? I mean, seriously, look at what he did. Has anybody done that lately? Not that I know of. So, yeah, I'm happy for that. Now, there's a lot of people that do say, like you are commenting, that we have Ward locked up. No, I don't think that's what Gary's article was about. It said it's the draft or us,
right?
Which I believe is true. And I've been saying it for a while. I believe that's true. But somehow or other, you got to believe that Alonso is on top of this. Mario is on top of this. They have enough connections to the league to choke a horse. And they must say, listen, I'm not picking him in the 2nd or 3rd round. I'm not picking him in the 2nd or 3rd round. I don't know what they want. Yeah. Now, if he's willing to take 4th round money to get into the league.
Yeah.
Because that's what the article that Gary was talking about, that these agents, I don't know who it is. I hope it's not.
He doesn't technically have he's got an NIL agent, but he doesn't technically have an agent yet because you can't have one until you go pro officially.
I know. Because I was a member of the NFLPA too. So, but the point is that information flows. He knows where he's at. I think maybe they're trying to make a play, Ohio State versus Miami. I don't know. I hope not. And has he been there? I didn't think he was there before last week. So
he didn't visit. He's only visited Miami and Florida State.
Right. So, and I know the answer to that. It's Miami.
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
Have to wait.
I do want to, when we come back, talk about one of the most prominent names and faces of Miami NIL. Did send an encouraging message today about Miami's pursuit of a quarterback. Let's get to that and more when we come back. You want to keep it locked right here to Locked On Canes. Thank you so much for making Locked On Canes your first listen and your first watch today. We're available free wherever you get your podcasts, available free on YouTube. And guys, if you want to take your everydayer experience to the next level, be sure to sign up for our exclusive SMS texting service called Locked On Canes Insiders. I include a link in the show description below. Sign up. You get text messages directly from my phone to yours and vice versa. Recruiting scoops, breaking news, whenever Miami does get a quarterback, we'll talk about it there on Locked On Canes Insiders before we talk about it on Locked On Canes. You can click the link in the show description below and try it free for 14 days. Then if you like it, after 2 weeks, you can opt in for $4.99 a month, or you can opt out, and I will not be insulted if you opt out. We give you a lot of added value on there. Bruce Warner, the Truth Teller, is with me here on this Truth Teller Tuesday. So, Bruce, another good friend of the show, Brad Tejeda, has been he's been a little frustrated, right? Because he really thought Miami was gonna announce their quarterback by Christmas, and it didn't happen. And he sent something out this morning about how he can't sugarcoat it. It didn't happen on Christmas. And you know who quote tweeted him, who responded to him? John Ruiz. John Ruiz shared Brad's tweet and said, "Good things come to those who wait." So listen, Ruiz is still, he's pretty locked in and connected, as we know, with NIL stuff and with program moves. So maybe if John Ruiz isn't worried, we shouldn't be worried.
Well, unless he's just saying that to pacify the fans. But I happen to think we're going to get him. I just hope sooner rather than later, because I do think unless Jacurri balls out and agrees to stay, we need another quarterback in that room.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Now, it might not matter anymore, but I knew they wanted one that was going to be a developer over a couple of years. I don't know who that is anymore. Dante Moore's gone. Some of these other guys are gone. But look, if Jacurri plays really well and we get Ward and we still have Emory Williams, and then we got Judd Anderson coming in to watch, then the year after that, although there's been some speculation that Luke Nickel may listen to somebody else. But
Georgia's recruiting him now.
Yeah, so Georgia's recruiting him. And oh, man. So we have to do better this year. We have to win 10 games. Because Georgia, they're stocked, but I don't think they're as good as they were the last 2 or 3 years. Obviously, they lost to Alabama pretty badly.
Well, and they just lost. They had Dylan Raiola committed top quarterback, and they lost him to Nebraska. So they're going to be looking to get one.
The team that's notorious for not really throwing the ball.
Well, his dad played there. Otherwise, Nebraska would not have had a chance to get him.
Right.
By the way, if this is one of the reasons why I love having live episodes with the live chat open, I'm hoping this is correct, what Chi-Town Kane just put in there. Antoine Jackson just entered the transfer portal. Remember him? He was committed to Miami last year, but he actually signed his letter of intent to Miami, but they let him out of his letter, and he went to ECU for a year. Now, Bruce, I think I can talk about this a little bit now if he's actually in the portal.
Right.
This does not surprise me because I knew there was something strange about the Antoine Jackson situation, because even when he was trying to get released from his Miami letter of intent, I saw this guy on campus all the time. Like every time I would go to cover a practice, Antoine Jackson's walking around, and I'm thinking, wait, I thought this guy doesn't want to be here. So
the girlfriend thing, was he the one with the girlfriend?
He was the one with the girlfriend, but I don't think I think there were other reasons, not necessarily related to the girlfriend, why he. But
that was one of the reasons.
So he wanted to get out of Miami for a year, like stuff that's bigger than football. Like he wanted to get out of Miami for a year, and I think there's been an understanding that he wants to come back to Miami. So if Antoine,
he's legitimate. He's legit, that kid. Yeah.
So if Antoine Jackson, if he really has entered the portal today, folks, do not be surprised if he winds up back in Miami. Because I can tell you this, I don't have a crystal ball. I can't say for sure he comes here, but when he left Miami, there were not any hard feelings. Like it wasn't like he and the coaching staff had some battle over his letter of intent. Like the fences were, I'm not even saying mended. Like the bridges were never broken. Everything was a good relationship. So I would hope he could end up back here. I really would. Any final words, Bruce?
Yeah, I guess I hope we win on Thursday. That's, to me, it's important.
Yeah.
Not that it matters that much, but it does.
It does.
It's a bowl game. It would, if we could win and Jacurri plays well, that helps. Everything helps. These kids get a little more experience. A lot of the young ones are going to play. I don't know if we're going to see Citizen, but he is in New York. That's all I know. Yep. And let's just hope we get Cam Ward. I mean, it seems like that's where they want to be. That's who they want. And they never really, as far as I'm concerned, made a big effort to get Howard. They may have made an effort, but I think all their eggs are in that. And yeah, somebody said, his father's the agent. Well, his father's telling him what to do. I think his father likes the 15 minutes of fame, but I hope we get him no later than next week because, yeah, I'm getting old. I don't keep waiting anymore.
Man, can't wait much longer. Listen, I think Miami has a pretty decent idea of how things are going. Now, as far as Cam Ward and the draft, I can't imagine they're getting better than let's say a 4th round draft grade. So it really, and you mentioned it comes down to whether if his family thinks it's really important to get into the league a year earlier just to start the clock on your second contract. Mm-hmm. That's probably what they're thinking about. At the same time, the opportunity to come to, a more high profile program than Washington State, have a really good year, raise your draft stock, and you could be a 1st or 2nd round pick next year. If you gamble on yourself, obviously there's no guarantee you're a 1st or 2nd round draft pick, but if you gamble on yourself, that would pay off in the long run, and you can make a lot of NIL your final year in the process.
Well, I don't know who he's better than. I see guys like Bo Nix as the 5th or the 6th pick. Yeah. I don't think he's better than Bo Nix. So there's other guys that are after Nix, but I don't know where they would go in the draft. I don't really know the money slots compared to NIL money, which we're all hearing, 1.5 million, something in that ballpark for him. So I don't really know, but I think if he wants to really better himself, he plays 1 year here. He gets a lot of pub. He's playing in the Southeast. He's on national TV a lot, not Washington State.
Yeah.
If he went to Ohio State, he'd be on TV a lot too. But
well, it seems like Ohio State's probably getting Will Howard. So
yeah, I think that's probably their pick. And if we get Ward, I'll be very, very happy. And then come next Tuesday, maybe we'll know, maybe we won't know.
Maybe.
We'll know about the whole game.
Huge thank you to Bruce Warner, the truth teller, always keeping it real with us. Thanks to everyone who watched us live. Make sure to subscribe to our channel, hit the thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, every podcast platform, and we will talk to you again tomorrow on another episode of Locked On Canes, part of the awesome Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.